Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good Monday afternoon, First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips hanging out with you here at our First Alert desk. We appreciate everybody joining us on our kind of one quiet day that we have in the forecast after a soggy weekend. Hopefully you're taking this time to dry out a little bit. It is beautiful outside with the sunshine, and we yet have some rainfall that we will be first alerting you to, so be prepared. We'll talk about that coming up, but if you've already maybe had some water in the basement over the weekend, because we've picked up quite a bit of rain, then you're going to want to make sure that sump pump is still going. Overall impacts from this upcoming rain, not going to be all that much trouble, but it is still going to be helping us catch up after all the dry weather that we've had lately. But I do want to get us started here with a live look outside, enjoying the sunshine that we do have. Here we are in downtown Saginaw. And we have a few clouds that have kind of been moving in this afternoon. They haven't necessarily been blocking out all the sun for us, so it is beautiful. You can see that the grass is just a little bit greener there at the Jolt Event Park. The other thing that I want to point out is you can kind of see our trees. They kind of have that yellow look to them. I've noticed that a lot of trees around the Saginaw area have really started to pick up on that fall color. And so we will have a quick update because I want you to take advantage of the fall color while we have it. But in the next couple of hours, if it is your turn to maybe pick up the kids and do the bus stop pickup, we are going to be finding that we have plenty of sunshine all afternoon long. We will be looking at our temperatures in the upper 50s by then. And even in the next couple of hours, we will have our readings that are going to be warming up just a little bit because southwest winds are going to kind of help to pump in some of that air. It was a little bit slow to get the wind direction to turn. So earlier at lunchtime, we were only sitting into the low to mid 50s. But since that wind has moved a little bit, we are finding our temperatures that are into the upper 50s. We do have 61 in Midland, though. Looking for any more 60s. Owasso is at 60 degrees. We are going to be looking at temperatures for many of our communities, though, that are into those upper 50s. We're at 59 in Clare and Mount Pleasant. We have 59 in Oscoda, 55 for Caseville and Bad Axe, and you're also going to find 57 in Marlette, Saginaw, and in Flint, and the same in West Branch. So a little bit cooler, but normal highs at this point in the year do sit around 58 degrees. So that means we're actually kind of where we should be. I know some folks, though, had said earlier today that it was a little bit cooler outside, but we've just been kind of stuck under some more mild air, so we're kind of finally feeling the effects of some fall-like air to be moving in. Our highs to come, though, this week actually do bottom out a little bit. We're going to be going into the lower 50s by Wednesday, Thursday, and even kind of into Friday. So for some of our high school football games, we're going to have to continue to kind of add the layers in. I know we've had some ups and downs here for high school football with it being either mild or maybe even on the cooler side for just a handful of our games. So of course, we'll be watching that Friday forecast closely, but the overall trends is that it looks like fall is here. It doesn't seem that summer has kind of a strong hold on the forecast, considering highs are into the 50s and we're about where we should be, if not a little bit below average. Now, our highs tonight, or excuse me, our lows tonight, we are going to be seeing those into the 40s. So typically we do have those in the lower 40s at this point in the season. So we're going to kind of be hovering right there. A few of us might be able to hold on to a little bit of that heat, but we are going to see that we do have temperatures yet into the 40s. I do anticipate those to be falling later this week. We'll show you some of our overnight lows coming up. But if you haven't turned the furnace on, this week might be a chance, considering we have 50s for highs, and we will start to see some of our lows head into the 30s. Now, as promised, we do have that fall foliage update as that graphic kind of loads the data in. We pull a lot of our data from Explore Fall as they're kind of watching all throughout the country of what's going on. And you can see that it does now finally have peak color moving into many parts of mid-Michigan. We can see a section into the Thumb coming through the Tri-Cities further west, all of northern lower you can see. Now you will find that we do have a little bit closer towards Oscoda, all gray, that we do have just that moderate to high color there. And the reason would be is because the lake can kind of protect our colors a little bit. So that's why we can see a little bit of a later onset, and kind of the same trend here for the Thumb. But you will see in Flint that we are just in that high zone with our fall color. I really noticed over the weekend while I was out that fall color really kind of seems to be in peak. So if you are looking for local color and maybe you want to get some pictures done, I would do them here this week, because I cannot guarantee that the color will be as good as what it was this weekend compared to this upcoming weekend. So take advantage if you do need some of those fall colors for anything. You are going to find that we're just into that window of borrowed time now, because once we have the fall color drop, it's just then not so colorful. But the other thing to note is that it's been so dry, and even with the rainfall that we picked up over the weekend, and that isn't really going to be a big help to kind of save our color. The damage is already done from the dry conditions, so we will find that our colors, though they may not be as vibrant, it may be hard to really go, oh, we're in peak. Well, that's just how peak's going to look this year, because it has been so dry. But we are at least finding that we do have some good color across the Saginaw area, so just know if you're in Flint that you still may have a little bit more color going into the weekend. So as I mentioned, if you do need a little bit of fall color, make sure that you are keeping an eye to also that forecast. I'll provide updates on the First Alert weather app. We'll have some updates here on the desk, but take advantage of the fall color while we have it. Now, we do still have some rain in the forecast. We will be talking about that in a short little bit. I'm going to take a quick 60-second break, and we're going to be right back. Welcome back. We were just talking about fall color, and if you got our push notifications either from the First Alert weather app or the TV5 News app, you definitely heard that we do have some rainfall coming back at us. Today is kind of just a short window of dry weather that we have. We do have more rainfall to first alert you to. So you will see that we have yet another system arriving in tonight, and that is going to be bringing us some scattered showers throughout the day on Tuesday into Wednesday. And this one kind of comes into pieces just because of the dynamics of the low pressure that's going to be rolling in. So just know you may find that you have some time to get outside and you're not going to be running through the raindrops. Like yesterday, we had a good chunk of the day where we had those soggy conditions, but we are going to find with this one, there's just a few pieces and kind of phases of this system that we want to watch. Actually, let's talk about some of the rain totals that we had from our weekend system. These are just some that were sent in to the National Weather Service, and I actually have a few more that I can share here. So I'll kind of pull up the long list that we had. But you'll see that Bay City, we had about 1.88 there, and then in Auburn, we had about 1.5 inches reported. Into Linden, this was one of the higher ones that I saw. It was at 2.43, so just short of 2.5 inches. Some of the other ones that were coming out of Genesee County, we had Davison at about 1.8. Flint was at 1.76 that I have there. On the map. Fenton, we had a report come in at about 1.67, so just over 1/2 inch, and then Goodrich reported about 1.42 inches. So that was some of the totals that we saw throughout Genesee County. Into Huron County, Port Austin, we had a report of about 1.5 inches there. And then into Lapeer County, you'll see that Lapeer itself, we had anywhere from about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches, with North Branch actually reporting 1.93. So just short of the 2-inch mark, but still some healthy amounts of rain there. Into Midland County, you'll see here that we had about 1.35. A lot of the reports that we had were just kind of surrounding Midland proper, and a lot of those were anywhere from 1.19 to the 1.35. So about 1.25 inches is what we were seeing there around Midland. Now into Saginaw County, Chesaning was one of the larger reports that we had come in, so that was just at the 2-inch mark. We had Nelson at 1.88, and then coming around Saginaw, it seems about 1 3/4 inches is what we picked up. We had a report at 1.77 and then 1.76. So we also had a report come in about 2 miles northwest of Oakley saying about 1.6 is what they recorded there. And then we also had some other reports that I didn't have room here on our graphic to share, but coming out of Shiawassee County, we had a report about 6 miles northwest of Durand was 2 inches, 2 1/4 that is. So just over that 2-inch mark, right at it, a little bit closer to Durand, Owasso, very similar. So a lot of us there across Shiawassee County were very close to the 2 inches, if not above that. And then in Cairo, we had a report of 1.95 come in. So those were just some of the reports that was shared with us from the National Weather Service that they did collect. So definitely some healthy amounts of rain. I will bring up our drought monitor here because this isn't going to be updated until Thursday. So hopefully we will see some noticeable changes, but considering that we do have some severe drought coming through the Tri-Cities and around the Bay, I anticipate that we may see that kind of get smaller, and we may not be able to get out of that phase, but we may at least see that shading to be a little bit smaller. Around Owasso, you can see there, we're just kind of in that abnormally dry. And so considering Chesaning picked up about 2 inches, we had 2 inches around the Owasso area, we may see some of that dry get at least erased away. So we might start to see some good improvements from this one. Also picking up the rainfall that we have on Tuesday, that will help. We may just find that that rain doesn't quite add up to all that much to make huge changes like what we saw over the weekend. Of course, we'll have that brand new drought monitor on the First Alert weather app. That'll be published there about 7 o'clock. So if we aren't able to cover it at the First Alert desk, you can always get that Thursdays at 7 p.m. on the First Alert weather app. I have the QR code here. Just in case you don't have the app, then you can have those products ready to go. As we take a look at our sky tracker, pretty quiet here. We've only had just a handful of clouds, but no rain. You can see that we had that rainfall towards Minnesota into Iowa. So that system is what we are watching. The low itself you can find is actually going to be located about right here. This is where we're going to be seeing that low. I know I don't have it marked here, but you can kind of see just that counterclockwise rotation. So here's the center of our storm into northern Minnesota. So that's going to continue to kind of pivot eastward, and that's what's going to be bringing us the rain chances along with this cold front. That's why our highs into the 50s do drop back a little bit more as we go throughout this week. So this is going to be, though, the rainfall that we're watching for tonight. So we have quite a bit of time before it gets here. I will actually bring it to about now, just a little bit of that leading edge. So you can see it's about a strong 450 miles away yet that still needs to travel before it gets here. Now we will see those rain totals, talked about those, but rain chances that are still coming up in the forecast is mainly going to be this system that we have starting tonight going into Tuesday, and then we still have some wraparound rain from the low. This just kind of gets stuck a little bit, so we'll continue to see those rain chances hold here as we go into Wednesday. But Thursday it just kind of lingers as it's finally trying to exit the region, but we will find that we have about 2 days here that we're going to be picking up more rain. So if you're maybe a little bit waterlogged after the weekend, enjoy today on a Monday because we do have more rainfall that's going to be coming in. The hour-by-hour forecast showing us that sunshine that we have, and you will still find that for the drive home from work, no issues weather-wise. We'll still have plenty of sun, and even at this point, there's not a lot of cloud cover either. So your Monday evening plans are looking good. Even as you're watching the Lions tonight, you're probably not going to even really notice much as far as any differences in the weather because the cloud cover isn't going to start to roll in until about after the Lions game, and then we will see that rainfall starts to enter mid-Michigan from the west. We'll be seeing that around 2 o'clock in the morning. And so a lot of us are going to be asleep, and then this is going to continue to push east. So this is going to kind of be that boundary of rain that comes through. So this is kind of the first batch of rain. And this is also going to have still some steady rain as it comes across the thumb going into tomorrow morning. So this is at 6 o'clock as the rain is just on its way out of mid-Michigan at this point. So a lot of us are going to be toweling off as we head out the door in the morning. Of course, if this slows down, we will, of course, then have some rainfall to get through. But overall, we are going to see that a lot of the rain is starting to leave because we have drier air that's wrapping around in our system. But We still have the backside of the storm bringing us some scattered rain. You'll see that here at lunch, that we do actually anticipate seeing some sun because of the drier air, but the backside of the storm is already coming into West Michigan at this point. So into the afternoon, we will find that we have scattered rain at times. Some of the showers will be a little bit heavy, but we will see that this is just going to kind of be on and off, scattered here and there. So there's really no cohesive look from it. It's just going to be wet weather for then the rest of our Tuesday. So Tuesday evening plans overnight. And going into Wednesday morning, we'll still need to watch for rain. Now going into Wednesday, the coverage might be a little bit lighter, but because we do have the lakes, there is a little bit of enhancement on the showers on the backside of the system. So we will see that they're kind of a little bit closer towards lake effect rain showers as they come in Wednesday afternoon and evening. So be prepared for on and off rain as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. It will be scattered. And this should be a little bit lighter than even some of the scattered showers that we'll be seeing tomorrow. But when we look at some of our rain totals, we are anticipating about a quarter to a half inch. So over the weekend, considering we easily saw over an inch, you will find that this is a lot lighter. We do still have room to take it on. And of course, this also will be a long duration over 2 days that we are looking. So that means that we will be able to kind of stretch out a quarter to a half inch and be able to take on all that water, even considering what we have picked up here over the weekend. So flooding concerns are still not likely here in mid-Michigan. Of course, if any of that changes or if any of these totals become a little bit higher, but the system not nearly as strong as what we did see over the weekend and also not as organized. So the backside of that storm not bringing us as much rainfall. Now, as we take a check of that 7-day forecast, we do have the rain, as I had mentioned, on Tuesday and Wednesday. Because this is a low pressure system, Tuesday will be breezy. We will have our winds that are going to kind of be switching around a little bit. We'll see those come out of the northwest. That's why highs are going to go from today into the upper 50s, lower 60s. Tuesday is the transition day in the mid 50s, and then we have lower 50s then for the rest of the week. So that northwest breeze is going to be bringing in some cooler air. Also with the rain clouds, we are not going to have a lot of solar radiation either. So we will find that we just have some lingering showers that are still going to be possible as we go into our Thursday, but by Friday, you will see that we dry out the forecast a little bit better. We will be looking at partly cloudy skies, so that's good for high school football. I know the fans are going to be happy to see a dry forecast, and then we will see just a hint of some rain trying to sneak in on Sunday. We're going to be watching that closely, considering we're still about a week away from the weekend. If you have some plans, I would just say to monitor the forecast, because we do still have a little bit of disturbances that are out there, but of course the timing and the phasing can all change in the forecast. As I mentioned, highs are going to be a little bit below average. Average is typically upper 50s at this point into October. Another thing to point out is that lows tonight, though we are going to be seeing those into the low to mid 40s, we will start to see those lows drop into the 30s. So if you have not clicked the furnace on, you may finally feel the need as we go later this week, because Wednesday night we'll be dropping down into the mid to upper 30s, and then as we go into Thursday and Friday nights, that means that we are going to be going into the mid 30s, and for some of us lower 30s as well. So of course some of these numbers are a little bit warmer depending on how close you are to the lake, or how far away, or even how north you are. So there is going to be a little bit of variation there, but we are going to find that we do have our conditions that are going to be cooling out overall. So it finally feels like October. We're going to be bringing the sweaters out. We're probably going to be switching our iced coffee out for hot coffee, and we're also going to be finding that our fall color towards the weekend may not be as strong as what you would like to see. So just keep that in mind in the forecast. Now, before we sign off here for today, I do want to talk about the replay capabilities that we have. So I want to get that set up here so you can see how to do it here. So this is going to be the WNEM YouTube page. So when you go to YouTube, youtube.com, and just in the search bar, all you got to type is WNEM TV5, and then you'll find our page. So this is our page here. Now into the top row here, you can see kind of where I'm moving my cursor, that we do have all these different pages. So of course you'll have the home page where we have all of that, and even our videos. I know a lot of you are consuming the videos. Actually, you can even see our live stream right here. So at the top, when you're looking to replay these lives, or if you want to go and share these with your friends, just come to this live tab. So in case we aren't live, but you just want to replay it, of course you can see that we're live here. Sometimes I have that turned off just because we are currently live, but you'll just hit this live tab, and then you will see that we're right here, so you can join that live stream, and then you can replay it. Also, if you missed maybe something over the weekend, like Stone, he was streaming yesterday, you can find previous streams that are there, and just other extras that we have, because our sports team, they're working on a Thursday night show previewing the game of the week. They're also working with the Saginaw Spirit to talk about how their season's going as they're kicking off. So there's a lot of happenings here that are going on at the First Alert desk and on our digital products. So again, if you want to rewatch any of those, specifically these weather live streams, you can do that here. YouTube.com, all you got to do at the top, search WNEM, and then here on this live tab, that's where you're going to find all the fun stuff that you could be missing out on, and we don't want you missing any of that. Also, if you can find the post on Facebook under the live tab, you can also replay a lot of these lives as well. But of course, we also encourage you to head to WNEM.com or even use the TV5 News app, because then you can watch us on the go there as well, just no replay capabilities there. So I appreciate everybody joining me. As always, we will be back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and we will be talking about rainfall at that point, so we don't want you to miss it. We'll see you here back tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.